We've had the game 1 that was extremely Team Liquid one-sided. We had the absolute bloodbath game 2 that Sentinels was disadvantaged at the start for and fought their way back. Game number 3 for automatic progression forward into the bracket stage starts now. Team Liquid with first pick choice. Sentinels opting then to go onto the blue side. Aurora banned out by Sen, as the Syndra and K'Sante are banned out by Team Liquid. The K'Sante staying away from Impact for all 3 games in this series.
Yep, Team Liquid does not want to let him have a chance on that. Also, Sion is banned because we are in Fearless, so we're still down 20 champions from Fearless going into this next game. I feel like Team Liquid also will feel like they let game 2 slip through their fingertips. There were moments in the early game where it looked like they were going for like a 20-minute speed run because they were winning every lane by 10 to 30 CS. They were attempting turret dives, jungle invades, but they just made too many slip-ups, and then Sentinels just got a lot of gold, and the game became that fiesta. So Sentinel's going to try and build off of that. I do wonder if Team Liquid stays as aggressive as they have been in draft with picking kind of 3 winning lanes and just hoping to steamroll you, or do they say, guys, take a deep breath. Let's just make sure we have scaling in case this game goes late.
I don't know how much of a hot take this is, but I honestly kind of love the just full YOLO gameplay at the very start of a season, like pre-first stand era.
Yeah.
I want to see teams do the, I wonder if I run hard enough at this wall, the wall will break before my head does. That's kind of what I want to see you test with your coordination, your aggro, like you're saying. Obviously, the the takeaway that I want Team Liquid to have from the last game is last game was too much of it because you ended up giving away some free kills, you ended up having a lot of errors, but I do want to see them stay aggressive, stay creative as the Trundle, Sylas, Nocturne all banned away here too. Team Liquid is going to grab themselves the Rumble first up, and the response from Sentinels, they will get the Zhao for HamBak, and Ornn is the answer into Rumble.
Yeah, and they've set that up big with the Sylas and the Trundle bans. So the Ornn is in a safe spot in this game, definitely wanting Impact to be able to just play good tank engage.
Well, the other thing, there is still a couple champions left to control Ornn. Windwall and Unbreakable from Yasuo and Braum, respectively, are also both very good against Ornn. Yasuo, I feel like you've got to see more of the draft to be able to pick him
Yasuo, though,
comfortably,
he loves
confidently. Braum is one, though, that sometimes you will see teams go for after some of the enchanters are out of the pool. It's Yunara locked in for Team Liquid. Do they want to go ahead and draft the support for that already, or maybe not? Maybe we get something else. Maybe we're looking at the jungle. You can see QUID jumping through a lot of these. Some of them in particular seem very exciting, but not very likely. And we're going to get Josedeodo on one of his iconic picks, the Lee Sin.
Okay, that's definitely confidence in outplaying. I do not think Lee Sin is strong in the current scaling meta, but if you pull it off perfectly, you can still run over a game. You can dodge around the Ornn ultimates, but in a straight-up duel and a lot of skirmishes, that Sin is going to be stronger. So big confidence play. It could also set up a Yasuo in the 4-5, because Lee Sin kicking a Yasuo ultimate is still a spicy kill combo. And Yeon is laughing. Something's going on here in the draft for Team Liquid. They're cooking something up.
I hope it's something wild. I really sincerely do. We've got Corki picked up for Sentinels, for Rahel there in the bottom lane. Obviously, it will be hard for him to have as monster of a performance in any game as he did in game number 2 with that hyper carry Kai'Sa, but we know that Corki can do plenty of damage if he's not kept behind early. I do want to see how aggressive Yeon and CoreJJ will keep playing here in game 3.
I'm just so locked in on what QUID is going to play. It's probably, could be something completely boring, but he loves Yasuo. He plays so much of it in solo queue. Probably one of his most played champions of all time.
They've got Rumble in top lane for AP threat.
And it's I don't think it's good either, but it just it might work.
But it's cool.
It's cool, and that's kind of Team Liquid style. It's a weird thing though, to bring back your earlier point of you do want to have the team that just goes all out, early game, flips things, plays aggressive. But what happens in League of Legends so much with these formats and how quickly you can react to performance, like if they drop this game, then they could be put in a situation that they're in a best of 1 to make top 6 versus being eliminated and have 2 months off.
Right. The 2 months is crazy.
I agree. Like, I actually do fully buy into let's play the early game stuff, because that's also a good way to beat teams internationally. And you need to practice that in your own domestic region. But if you just make that few mistakes early, because you are playing a coin flippy style, you can really, really get punished.
It's the difference between running it down full fiesta every game, but then on the opposite end of the spectrum, old school TSM fans, just cover your ears for the next 10 seconds. The old TSM where they would run the league domestically all year long, go to internationals, do nothing and lose, right? You've got to be able to play your lanes in a way where you're going to dominate from the early stages of the game. But lots of support bans here in our second half of the draft. It's the Bard, the Poppy, the Lulu, and the Nautilus all banned away as we're seeing the Rakan hovered here for Sentinels. That is a traditionally weaker laner with some very powerful scaling in his presence in the team fights. Now you've got Ornn alongside Rakan for massive engage on Sen.
And a lot of enchanters are gone. Remember, Nami and Karma are both already dropped from the first 2 games of Fearless. Nautilus ban, Leona, Alistar would be the engage supports, and they just go for engage, so they take Alistar.
We still don't know what QUID is going to be. You know who Alistar also loves having
Viktor
on his team? Oh!
Yeah, I know.
That is the opposite of Yasuo.
It is.
Okay.
QUID's a pretty good Viktor.
Yeah, I know, but after I saw the Alistar too, which is another great wind buddy.
Well, I think actually, if it didn't have to be blind picked, there's a higher chance. But the fact that it's a full blind pick, I don't think you just slam Yasuo like that.
I mean, that's the confidence play. That's the aggressive play. But yeah, we won't be getting that one here this time around. We'll be the Viktor.
Ooh.
So we've got 2 very powerful, high damage AP solo laners on the Team Liquid side, which I think makes you feel a little bit better about having the Lee Sin in the jungle, because now you always have the differentiated damage types if he's going to gank for either one of those. You've got Yunara and Alistar in the bottom lane. Alistar's also another one of those supports. You've got a lot of playmaking and engage potential, but your lane is kind of crap compared to a lot of other supports. But if both supports are bad at laning, nobody's actually bad in the lane.
Yeah.
Because it's all equalized.
Yeah. Alistar, Rakan is a flip. You don't really want to play Braum into Rakan because Rakan just flies all around you. So makes sense how Sentinels comboed out the rest of their team composition. I'm a little surprised that they didn't actually go with the Hui and instead go for the Galio. DARKWINGS will need to survive in this lane. If he does get a little bit ahead, he can itemize really well for the solo lanes because he can stack a bit of MR against the Rumble Viktor. But late game against the Yunara, where I feel like most win conditions for Sentinels are going to be late game, I don't necessarily think they outscale in this situation.
So the thing that I'm also thinking about is, from what you said all the way back in like game 1, when we had the Talia and we had the Pantheon, and you were talking about, yeah, these champions with these globals or semi-globals like those, or like a Galio was another one you mentioned, they want something like the Aatrox that unfortunately had the wrong rune to play through in the side lane, right? If the mid laner is Robin, you need to have a Batman champion somewhere in the side lanes for Robin to show up and help, because the comics aren't about him. And when you look at the rest of the composition around the Galio, you're looking at an Ornn in the top lane. Ornn is not going to be your hyper carry. You're looking at Xin Zhao in the jungle, unless Xin Zhao starts off 8-0, which I don't think is very likely to happen in pro play. He's not going to be your hyper carry either. For
sure. I would say that the only team I've ever seen consistently win with solo lanes like Galio Ornn is like 2018 RNG with Uzi. Because they would just give him 100 more CS than everyone else, and he would just power farm. And they were the only team. If you go back and look at some of those team compositions, man, they are so not modern League of Legends. No. They would run like this with Skarner in the jungle. It was literally like triple AP topside garbage that you could never get away with in today's game.
Skarner there.
No, man. Like those guys, you're not allowed to pick triple AP or triple AD in your topside in modern League of Legends because teams will just run you. But RNG won MSI doing it. Sorry for the old tangent. Team Liquid trying to get aggressive in lane, burning barrier for an early trade.
Yeah, and now there's the heal burned in response for that trade, just to try to keep the health bars nice and high. Yeon and Core have been playing both of the previous game's lanes as if the enemy jungler does not exist. You just shove up, you don't care, you keep trading aggressively. It doesn't matter if we have Alistar, you have Rakan, and we are going to shoot you for it. Yeon and Core now backing off a little bit further.
Well, they don't have barrier or heal, so or health potions. So I think they actually went a little bit too hard here. He's got to reset.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so Yeon is going to go ahead and step back now. Rahel and huhi, hey, this is a better lane state than they've had at 2 minutes in either of the previous games.
It is. They fought back. And the wave is also pushing against them. So Yeon, he did actually have to reset there because the lane was in a bad state. So they took a bad trade. Rahel huhi with a nice early advantage. That's going to pay itself forward. But I will also say, like, Team Liquid's jungle is pathing away from them. Even more reason Yeon had to reset. They're going to have to expose themselves to break this freeze.
Josedeodo's Lee Sin, another point that we talked about in the draft that you brought up. Like, you've got to be confident if you're picking this into the Zhao from HamBak. See if he can manage to find pressure, find opportunities and avenues for ganks up against this champion that will likely outduel him. As DARKWINGS is, you know, you're a melee champion versus a range champion in the first couple of levels. You're going to get traded on pretty heavily, so he'll just go ahead, back away right now. Generally, when I look at these early, like, range versus melee matchups, I always track, can you hold it together well enough to have your first buy be what you want it to be versus getting chunked out in a bad spot and you go back and you buy some junk like a ruby crystal, right?
Yeah, where's the Spectre's cow is what Galio is going to be trying to rush towards. Taking a decent chunk. I'm really surprised that HamBak didn't go for bot crab. So Jose's going to double crab him. Blabber would be, he'd be typing GG to his team at this moment. Just a free double crab angle, despite Yeon being level 2 for most of this. I'm very confused about that, but he'll be back on the map to clean up grubs, or to get his grump.
Lee Sin pick, stays winning.
Yeah.
Double crab,
winning.
Only game so far where we got the double crab early on. HamBak thinking about maybe this top lane. Ganking for a champion like Ornn, even though Ornn doesn't have a ton of damage himself, he does have a deceptive amount of damage for a tank champion, but the setup that this guy can provide is so nice, especially with a great early ganker like Zhao. I do want to see if they can punish Morgan if he gets too aggressive on this Rumble. We have seen Morgan play aggressively so far in this series. Last game in particular had a bunch of aggressive moments, some of which were far too aggressive.
Yes.
Right? So I feel like this is a guy who you can say from what you saw in the first 2 games, yes, here's an opportunity where we have, this guy is going to push too far up, he's going to play too aggressively, and that's where we can get our early leads.
Potentially, once Impact hits level 6, they could definitely send something up to the top lane, assuming the rest of the game is in a good state, which it does. I mean, this is not a explosive early game by Team Liquid by any means. Oftentimes, the explosive early game comes through the bottom lane. And for the first game of the 3, Rahel and huhi won the early duel and took their own advantage in the bottom lane. So Impact already building up to a lot of MR on the Ornn. So he's gotten through a lot of the early laning phase. Down about 10 CS, which is not bad in the early lane from Rumble versus Ornn.
Exactly. Going up against Rumble, most champions just kind of know that they're going to lose in terms of the early farm. Morgan, yeah, he walks up, he takes a turret. Josedeodo is shadowing him, though, because they know that they don't want Morgan to end up getting punished right here. So the wave crashes in. Morgan's going to take his recall, should have whatever buy he wants right now, as Impact does purchase the Rejuvenation Beads. And considering Josedeodo was up on that top side of the map, HamBak is down here near bottom lane. They've got the push. They've got the control through Rahel and huhi, like you already mentioned. So HamBak will take a very early first Drake. Early round Drake. Nice.
Yeah, start the clock. That's 5 minutes, 36 seconds. I talked earlier in the series about how Sentinels fixed their game last week by just playing Drake. So they got Dragon Soul in both of their wins last week. Technically today, they also got their win from Dragon Soul, even though it was a 7 Drake Soul in that game.
Yeah.
This team does need to have the stacking objectives to win so far. They don't necessarily play on the same page a lot of the time. So a way to bring everyone onto the same page is just start Drake stacking early and fight around objectives.
And I feel like this kind of ties in with something you brought up in the previous game. Hold on, we'll talk about that in just a moment, because Sentinels may find themselves
the objective
on the receiving end of a pincer attack. HamBak eats the resonating strike there from Josedeodo. Now he's got to be a little bit careful, does get knocked back, but the entrance from DARKWINGS is heroic indeed. It's first blood over to Sentinels. HamBak might just die here, but CoreJJ should get picked up. Rahel chasing after him in the flash for the auto attack. huhi staying alive for now, but the death ray picks him up. It's a 2-for-2 trade in the bot side river.
And not only that, both kills go to both carries on both teams, so a really even fight there, as normally it's Crab into Drake. This time it's Drake into Crab, and the Crab is the one that ends up seeing the fight. So both junglers level 5 at the start of this one. Jose does win the smite and get a kick on a HamBak, but it's at the expense of getting eaten by the Galio ultimate. So it continues.
Rahel and Yeon also continue, both down to 100 HP during the replay.
They're playing barrier chicken as well, so both of them aren't in immediate risk of death.
Ooh, nice knock-up.
Still playing barrier chicken. Insane.
Yeah. There's a quick heal from the Gleaming Quill. Huhi keeping Rahel healthy. As soon as Sonic Wave from Jose does not hit, they know that there's no more chance to try to go for a cheeky move there. Josedeodo, without the Dragon's Rage, won't just be able to immediately take the Q into the R for the instant kill on the Corki. And so you're going to see Rahel go for his recall. He will achieve that slightly before Yeon does, but they are both going back around the same time.
Yeah, I feel like Yeon was sitting on that Tripletronic Elixir the whole time. I wonder if he popped that, if he could have actually won, or at least gotten the barrier. We'll still have that for a later fight whenever he wants it, but I love the spice. I mean, I do really think this game is going to come down to some combination of which AD can carry harder.
Okay.
It's not necessarily like a Kai'Sa comp like we had last time, but just looking at the top side for Sentinels, Ornn, Galio, Xin, you really need Rahel to do damage. But then likewise, with the Rumble Viktor into the two tanks that are all going to be itemizing MR because that's in side lanes, you need a really fed Yunara to cut through that. So we're going to wait until 3 or 4 items on these AD carries to really start seeing fights have big consequence.
A tale of 2 carries here in game number 3. 2 minutes left on the clock until the next Drake spawns. The Void Grubs have made their way into the top side river. Nobody moving there just yet. It is Morgan with control over top lane, nearly claiming the second plate there as he crashes another wave into the turrets. As CoreJJ is forced to use the Unbreakable Will, finds Huhi and Rahel both waiting inside the tri-brush, considering that means that there's no ultimate on the Alistar. It's far harder for him to get involved in anything much bigger than a 2v2.
Yeah, Yeon does have ultimate though. Big power spike if he decides to press that one. So Sentinels pushing bot lane, getting pushed in the top lane, but it's a lot of just minion trading when we consider what's actually happening in the lanes, unless HamBak can make a dive happen. They're gonna get the notification of the grubs soon.
Yep, okay, so Void Grub secured. Josedeodo's got that one. HamBak knows there's no ultimate here on the Alistar. DARKWINGS is also following up behind to guarantee they're able to take this. CoreJJ drops, and now the target might just be Yeon here with a follow-up. HamBak's going forward. Arcane Storm is used, but it won't matter. It looks like Team Liquid were ready for HamBak to show up because they send Yeon back. CoreJJ is the sacrificial lamb, but Yeon hanging around there just a little bit too long, right as DARKWINGS walks up and says, "Sup, dude?" That is not what they were expecting, clearly, because they end up losing 2.
Yeah, Jose thought he was getting some cheeky grubs, but not being around to cover could have big implications on the rest of this game. Look at that CS gap in the bot lane now, 92 to 66. When's the last time you saw Yeon on that low CS 10 minutes into the game? So beautifully done by Sentinels, getting the ult out early, rotating around. I think Team Liquid knew the Galio was around because you can see QUID trying to shadow on the way back, but it's just too big of a numbers advantage. Ultimately, Yeon needed to just retreat to his turret, but knows how bad it is for his game to lose that wave. Ends up losing his life as well, which makes it worse.
Yeah, it sucks to lose a wave, don't get me wrong, but then to give up the kill right after, even if you know that the Galio is going to be close and you're sending Viktor to follow, Galio is going to have so much more impact with his 2 forms of hard CC versus Viktor dropping some damage or some delayed CC. Just feels like that was some greediness from Team Liquid trying to stop Yeon from falling further behind. Sentinels now with a 400 gold lead as a team. Biggest individual gold lead so far in this game, though, is Morgan up there in the top lane. But I feel like if you're Sentinels, you're pretty okay with that. Again, you picked Ornn. You know that he's not going to slam his lane. He does almost have the Kainic Rookern completed. And I feel like that's the point where Rumble really stops being able to bully this guy effectively because you just allow the shield to absorb all the barbecue.
Sentinels team comp becomes extremely hard to play against if they keep Yeon in the dirt, because there will not be damage to kill Galio Ornn, and they will be able to go wherever they want. And the Drake stacking, it's online. They play around bottom lane. They're trying to burn this bottom lane down, and Drake's up. So HamBak's in river. That's the game plan.
Okay. Sonic Wave from Josedeodo finds HamBak. No reason to follow that one up here just yet. Both junglers do have Sundered Sky completed, so that power spike is locked and loaded. Hallowed Radiance done for DARKWINGS in the mid lane as well, alongside the Blackfire Torch for QUID's Viktor, neither one of our bottom laners that we are talking about being so important in this game have their first items thus far.
Yeah.
As DARKWINGS wants to make sure QUID doesn't try to rotate over to this bottom side river at all. You could see the Zhao portrait just quickly jump forward a little bit towards the dragon pit in the minimap, and that means that HamBak and the rest of Sentinels have decided they have enough control. They will be able to secure this second Drake of the game. And once again, my friend, it's a Hex Rift. Chaos is on the horizon.
I hope so, because this game is a little bit slow, but in a favor of Sentinels, which was not expected. All three people on the lounge predicted a 2-0 for Team Liquid today. But again, look at this. Yeon can't get back to his turret. Sentinels is just camping them.
I love to see this aggressive play from Sentinels, but now it might have got a little bit too aggressive. Huhi, he does manage to dash back over the wall, escape before another turret shot finds him. The Arcane Storm is ticking, though. Here comes your heroic entrance. DARKWINGS arrives, but now he's got to try to get away. Rush. Lands the taunt, phase rush, giving him that extra distance. That means that Rahel and huhi both get to keep their flashes, but they had to spend both other defensive summoners alongside the ulti from DARKWINGS. Josedeodo seeing if he can find a greedy recall here, but there is no such thing just yet. Rahel does almost stay around a little bit too long. Okay, he trusted his sidestep there.
Okay.
The trust pays off.
Flowers Hex Rift is creating chaos already.
Yep. I called it. I told you.
Huhi's already back in the map. They're still fighting.
He wants the knock up onto Jose, but the grand entrance falls a little bit short. QUID stepping forward here. Remember, no ulti on either one of the mid laners. CoreJJ does have Unbreakable Will here on the Alistar as the TP is coming in. Core jumps in, nice two-man knock-up. HamBak returning with the counter-engage as there goes Morgan's equalizer, trying to find enough damage here. huhi and HamBak both about to die. CoreJJ won't be traded. The double kill back over to Morgan on the Rumble. He's looking to carry from the top lane. Where the hell did the Ornn go? Impact is not able to send the thing back in where they wanted it, and Team Liquid gets everybody away on blinking health bars.
I gotta see if Impact got CC'd, because I thought that Ornn ultimate was about to turn things, but as we mentioned, total chaos, and the biggest winner of this is actually Yeon. He got a full push bottom lane, takes 2 plates, and then can walk up for this while Rahel is completely denied of farm. But HamBak actually just all-ins on top of a Rumble TP when Impact is way behind and a level down. So yes, Impact has his ultimate here and just doesn't click it right. No CC to stop him.
I do think that could have been the fight turner that you were talking about.
Ooh.
If that Ornn redirects, because you slam that onto all of those low health bars, they should be able to pick up this kill onto QUID without a whole lot of to-do about it. That phase rush is getting him somewhat away, but no, HamBak will finish the kill. Yeah, the Ornn in that previous fight, if you could have found the knockups and the follow-ups, but we'll never know. It's only hypotheticals from here. CoreJJ and Josedeodo coming up 2 versus 3 as a nice quickness to charm them both from huhi, but there's no follow-up damage. Yeon and Rahel encountering one another. The Foss Bomb connects onto Yeon, and Rahel goes in! The AD carry battle results in a win for Sentinels, and now with 2 dead on the enemy team, both of those 2 being carries, Jatt, it looks like Sentinels is ready to start up the Rift Herald. Josedeodo is nearby,
still going.
And DARKWINGS is coming around from the other side. Core and Jose wanting to challenge for the objective. Resonating Strike comes in from Josedeodo, and he steals away the Herald. Now the equalizer's down over the top from Morgan, but it's still a 4v3 favoring Sentinels. Jose wants to get out, but the heroic entrance goes in. Morgan's still overheated, but he's got another flamethrower ready to go. Morgan finds a kill. Rahel's gonna die to CoreJJ. Morgan finally falls to the winds of war as Core is knocked up into the air by the grand entrance once more. QUID's trying to show up, mop and bucket. He's got some cleanup duty to do as Impact wants to cover for the escape of DARKWINGS and huhi. This is a game, my friend.
This is North American League of Legends. It's non-stop action. Josedeodo's insane. It's a 3v4, and he goes in for the Rift Herald steal, and they just all commit to the fight. They nearly get the execution onto Rahel. He lives just a second longer. That allows Impact to walk all the way from base. I still think Sentinels come out ahead at the end of it, but this is insanity. The Hex Gates have ruined the minds of everyone in this game, and they're just giving them this insane bloodlust, because with the Gates, they're always 5 seconds from a fight, and they always want to fight.
Hex Gates is the new Otacon. They're just all over the map instead of at one spot. MasterCard Power Spike right there on your screen. Yeon has acquired his first fully completed item with the Kraken Slayer for the Yunara. So maybe that is going to get him paid. 1,000 gold lead for Rahel's Corki specifically.
Which is important. I feel like the first AD carry to hit, 7 items wins this game, seemingly, with the direction that we're going. But this is kind of part of how League of Legends works now, with home guards being better and with the Hex Rift getting you there. Okay. The map shrinks, right? The game speeds up, so it's all about how you outplay the opponent in the constant skirmishing, which is definitely the direction that this game is moving.
You remember Nexus Splits? You remember the Ring of Fire? It's kind of just like that, but a little bit more indirect of a version.
Fighting again.
As CoreJJ steps in, headbutt pull only onto HamBak. Not going to see that Gravity Well accomplish a whole lot here just yet, but Morgan has arrived. That is the largest individual gold lead in the game. This Rumble is a huge factor in the team fights. Morgan has been doing a lot of work here for Team Liquid in the past couple encounters. His equalizer, the placement, the timing on that, absolutely critical if they want to triumph and stop the soul stack here for Sentinels. Huhi on the Rakan, just trying to get as much value as he can out of those gleaming quills, those extra heals, keep everybody topped up against the poke. Impact gonna be your front line here. Over the wall goes Huhi. Quickness ready to follow it up with a heroic entrance coming down over the top, and Josedeodo is already down. Equalizer, not a lot of value to be found as Morgan has to try to flash away, but HamBak is in hot pursuit. Team Liquid, they only lose one man, but that man is the jungler, and Sentinels are going to Soul Point.
And they crucially burn Flash off of both Team Liquid carries for future fights. Clean engage there by Huhi's Rakan, and they actually execute the jungler rather than the carry. Morgan was trying to hold the flank, so he's almost preventing the re-engage here, but Huhi flies in. You can see no other carries other than Morgan can really do any damage, as Yeon and QUID both just push completely out of the fight. And Sentinels win the Drake River contest yet again.
Sentinels, man. You could look at Josedeodo's eyebrows jump up. The damage just exploding this guy before he gets the chance to respond. Okay, so last game, it took us till like post 40 minutes to get a Dragon Soul, or just about 39 or so, right? This time around, we have the chance at a Dragon Soul 24 minutes or so on the clock. We'll see if Sentinels can maintain that control. The gold lead itself is still very modest, but 3-0 Dragon State means that Team Liquid cannot afford any more mistakes when those are about to spawn.
Definitely not, and remember the way this format works. Winner is in playoffs. Loser might have to play a last chance qualifier tomorrow, and based on the preseason expectations of Team Liquid, that would be absolute insanity that they'd be playing the game to decide 6 and 7 in the standings. They could still be 5th. It depends on the way strength of victory and head-to-heads play out. We've got a great foldy sheet from our stats guy that we're going to be folding all of tomorrow to decide that. But yeah, loser of this game could still be eliminated at some point tomorrow. And with how game 1 happened and game 2 started, it's crazy that we're here, right?
Yeah.
With Sentinels almost being back to their week 2 selves, right? Sentinels loses to DSG, then they demolish Dignitas, and maybe they beat Team Liquid. They're on Morgan now.
Yeah, they immediately summon up the Ornn horn. Impact has it all ready to go here this time. Yes, he doesn't quite slam himself into the volcanic fissure how he wanted, but it means it only cost them an extra second to get that kill. And Jatt, that was the plus 2,000 gold Rumble. That was what has been trying to get Team Liquid through some of these mid-game fights, and that was a free kill on the very same dude.
How much swagger does Impact have right now? He might beat Team Liquid in a series where he played Guardian Aatrox. Like, game 1 was a throwaway, and they're winning games 2 and 3 right now.
That's the ultimate mind game. You lock Guardian, you lose game 1 in the most goofball way.
Make them overconfident.
And then you win.
They goofball a little bit in game 2 because they feel like it's just a little free win, quick 2-0, go home, make playoffs, blah, blah, blah. Nope, actually, Impact's gonna just play as classic try-hard champions. He's gonna Scion lock game 2, go deathless. They're gonna set up bans. They're gonna draft for Impact's Ornn. That's what they did. They banned Trundle. They banned, what was the
Silas.
They banned Trundle Silas, and then just blind picked Ornn.
Slam Ornn.
Well, sorry, they played it into the Rumble, but still.
Who, by the way, he has Kanik Rookern now. He has Jack Show. Kanik Rookern is evolved into Kanik Rookern, or whatever we name the ornaments these days. This thing is absolutely massive against both QUID and Morgan, and Morgan's gold lead has now shrunk. This man who had twice as much of an individual advantage compared to anybody else on the Rift now has less of an individual advantage than, oh, what's this? The mid laner from the enemy team, the bot laner from the enemy team. These champions that are going to be causing a lot of issues. Team Liquid is now 3,500 gold behind. Jatt, the thing that I said a couple of minutes ago about how, yeah, they're 3-0 on Drakes, but the gold lead itself is at least very modest. Not so modest anymore.
No, and Rahel with the gold lead is also going to get accelerated whenever Ornn upgrades his item. So it's looking very dire. And again, who he's hunting in the sideline. I don't even know if they have the damage to kill, but he's flashless, so they're hoping to burn ultimate, which they do, and now they can just disengage.
Yeah, just walk it off. HamBak is coming to show up, though. If Morgan overstays for this, CoreJJ is at least ready to shadow him a little bit. Meanwhile, they will at least be able to secure the top lane tier 1 turret for the Team Liquid side. That is the first turret they've got all game long. Mid and bottom are still at only a single plate, and QUID gets some extra money from that, which they are going to need. 55 seconds until the next Drake spawns. The Rumble ulti will be ready to go again for that fight, which is very, very important for the Team Liquid side.
Yeah, that could have been absolute disaster. That was totally a play just to get the Rumble ultimate. Morgan probably didn't even need to burn it. He would just imagine that there would have been more people on the way, so he was trying to shoot back some damage. At the very least, though, it's going to prevent Team Liquid's ability to contest early vision, which will allow Sentinels to have first start and really set up everything they want around this Soul. I feel like if they get Hex Soul, 90% chance they win this series, so they're ready to go, and huhi is going to be looking for an engage here. They have great river control right now.
Muramana completed for Rahel. You've also got the extra serrated Dirk on top. Jungler's already fighting here in the river, here in the jungle of Team Liquid. Is all right, checking in on our Ornn upgrades. We do have that Trinity Force upgraded now for Rahel's Corki.
And
Sentinels,
this is the spot to fight.
Grouped up as 5. Rumble ulti still 5 seconds away. CoreJJ tries to jump in the middle of everybody. He's going to take a lot of damage here at the very start as HamBak wants to put pressure onto Morgan, but HamBak is already killed. Now Yeon's about to be bursted down. DARKWINGS doesn't have any cooldowns left. The Arc of Ruin going to force the Galio back. Sonic Wave into the resonating strike. Josedeodo wants to go in, but he has to get right back out. Remember, there is no jungler on the side of Sentinels, so trying to take this Drake doesn't feel right.
And Hex Gates re-engaged. Look, Rumble already teleporting. CoreJJ on the way. I think they denied the Soul.
Soul stopped. It stopped. Team Liquid, it's a 1-for-0, but again, last time they were on the receiving end of the 1-for-0, but it's jungler. This time, they achieve what they're looking for.
I can't believe this worked. CoreJJ at 50% health. Flashes in for the CC on the jungler, and then I think the fact that HamBak went on to Morgan allowed him to get executed. If he just stays in river, I feel like they probably just get the Drake if they played that fight slow, but instead HamBak really tried to go fast. He's the one who falls, and Team Liquid stay in the game.
Huge, huge halting of momentum there. I'm not going to call it a swing for Team Liquid because I believe that Sentinels is still definitely in the lead. However, that gold lead has fallen by half. Team Liquid has bought themselves at least 5 more minutes before a Soul would arrive. DARKWINGS should be able to pick up just some free gold here. Punch the turret 1 time, easy peasy, brings the gold lead back up to 2K. But man, these fights get crazy, man. They're fast.
They are so fast, man. This Hex Soul Team Liquid modern 2026 version, they're exciting. I don't know if they definitely don't love the way that they're playing right now because they might be losing this series, but they go for plays. Sentinels, I feel like, is generally playing the more controlled style, which is crazy. They're just trying to set up around these Drakes, burn crucial cooldowns. They're still going to be scaling with this Ornn. Rahel really just needs to get more and more items because I'd say Yeon, based on items, is right there with him at the moment, but it'll scale in the favor of Corki as he completes more and more items.
You still do have Yeon's Yunara, though, with those Fiend Bolts. The new AD carry item that is it's another thing, kind of like Experimental Hexplate, where it's really good on the champs that really like it, even if it's kind of useless on the majority of champs overall. Any marksman that really wants to turn on their ult for the team fight, Twitch, Yunara, Zeri, all these types of things, loves this thing.
And I will actually say, even though the front line is really good against Viktor Rumble, the front line's pretty low on armor. Finally, Seeker's Arm Guard is built by DARKWINGS. That gives him a bit. You get a little bit of armor from the Jack Show on Ornn, but Yeon will also be able to completely shred the front line if he's able to scale. So Team Liquid's just playing this slow game here where they're just hoping that they can deny this soul as long as possible.
Third item completed, though, for Rahel, Collector on the Corki. So he'll also be able to shred low armor targets. There is no armor built on Morgan. There is no armor built on QUID. There is, I mean, yeah, you've got Zeke's on CoreJJ, but it's not a lot. Obviously, Yeon won't be building armor. So this is going to give you some good value, some good burst here for that Corki. And like we saw earlier when Rahel jumped in on Yeon when they ran into each other in the river, Rahel can go aggro if they need him to.
He really can. They're just going to start the Baron, accelerate the game a little bit more. QUID was trying to push the side wave. They're likely just looking for an engage here. Impact level 16 on this Ornn.
You're seeing on my wave pings coming out from the Team Liquid side towards the Baron, though. This Baron DPS is not particularly fast. Team Liquid is going to make their way over. Morgan gets taunted up, though. A lot of combo damage onto the Rumble, and HamBak's ready to create some space for everybody else. CoreJJ down to half HP. Here comes the Ornn Horn, and Impact with the sideline kill on Morgan starts it off. Now Yeon's in danger. He might get focused. Rahel flies in. HamBak is down, but so is Yeon. Team Liquid has lost everybody except for QUID and Josedeodo, and Sentinels still has 4 men. Health bars are compromised, though. DARKWINGS gonna go ahead, go back to base for now. The bloodbath ends with nobody claiming the Baron, but a decided victory for Sentinels.
Man, Yeon tried so hard in that fight. He just doesn't have the gold to be effective. He managed to space the Impact CC at the very end to stay alive, but Rahel, even bigger after that fight, 2,500 gold lead. He's getting the last hits from these fights because Impact and DARKWINGS, if they fight away from Yeon, are untouchable. Look at what they're able to do to Morgan right here. And then Yeon is distracted, can't hit the Xin, has to deal with huhi. So Morgan just gets kind of soloed by Impact on the top side there. And at the end here, look at what Yeon does. He goes in, doesn't get CC'd by that Ornn, but at the end of the day, those are 2 4,000 health tanks that he really can't touch. And the Viktor is not able to shred through the MR stacking soul laners of Sentinels.
Sentinels now have 30 seconds on the clock until Dragon Soul time is once again at their fingertips.
Okay.
You can see they've already got their support units in position around the area.
This might be a long one, Flowers. Take a drink, make sure you're hydrated, because even if this fight starts and someone dies, they could keep fighting until the Hex Gates come back. So right now, insane vision control from Sentinels. huhi doesn't have ultimate, but it's up in 5 seconds. I think that's what they're waiting for. You can see him on the flank.
Yeah.
If Team Liquid try and move in, huhi's going to go for an engage, and we're going to see a fight.
And Josedeodo has always been around this area for these dragon fights, always ready to jump in over the wall with the Lee Sin. That seems to be what huhi is marking with his Rakan. HamBak and Rahel DPSing the dragon slowly but surely. Got it down to about 2,500, and Impact is going in here with the Ornn. Ornn knocks him up into the air, and they've already claimed the soul, and Morgan's soul as well. DARKWINGS drawing the ire of Yeon off to the side, but it's only a distraction, as now Team Liquid's gonna lose their second man. A double kill for Rahel, and HamBak wants even more. Wind becomes lightning, and lightning strikes QUID, as he's again forced to retreat. Team Liquid, they lose 2 men, they lose the Dragon Soul, they lose control over the top side of the map, and now the Baron should go the way of Sentinels.
Jose still hoping to pull off a miracle, has the control ward inside, has another control ward and a trinket to check, but I mean, this is a rather big ask to try and steal the Baron away from this Hextech sold Sentinels team.
Team Liquid fans, spam your Tukis. Josedeodo's got to go for the miracle here because Sentinels really wants this Baron. Josedeodo throwing the Q over the wall. He jumps into the pit. The Baron's still at 2,500 HP. Meanwhile, DARKWINGS is ready to follow up over the wall. He finds the taunt onto 2. Nobody else wants to overcommit to chasing Lee Sin and Alistar. The Baron goes over to the Sentinels side, and what a massive swing for this team now. If they weren't in the lead convincingly enough before, this one's real tough for TL.
And they played this fight really well. Look at the flanks they're holding. huhi on the right, DARKWINGS on the left, Impact up the middle. Team Liquid had to go in for the Drake, but it was too low by the time they did, so Sentinels get it anyway, and then there's no retreat. I'd say DARKWINGS is having a great game. I mean, if you consider going up against a former LCS MVP, a lot of people wondering how DARKWINGS is going to coordinate with his team, who often plays in full Korean, and he just has to follow along. he's been right there. His ults have been great. He's been on good roam timings. He's kept up in lane against QUID. He hasn't been picked once. He has been doing exceptional. And stay tuned for this post-series interview with Impact. He's going to have so much swagger if he beats Team Liquid in this series.
This is going to be like a storybook, what you get in the interview for this game. Between the game one all the way up through now, if they can manage to turn it around and win the series. CoreJJ is already almost dead. As soon as HamBak goes in for the prime 3-talent strike, knocks him up into the air, that's going to force out your unbreakable will, which means CoreJJ now has to wait for that cooldown to do anything other than go in and die after one combo in a team fight.
Not completely over yet, though. So 1 minute, 30 seconds on this Baron power play. They have to make it count. They are a short-range team. So they have big-time tanks, but it's really just Corki who can safely hit these turrets. They might have to full commit for a dive, which can get messy.
And they're ready to step up and start putting that pressure
if they can just
on.
hit it, though.
Yeah, the first turret, there's no defense here from TL. HamBak steps forward, audacious charge on the minion for the better positioning for when becomes lightning, means that Team Liquid feels that presence. They have to back away, and now the top lane tier 3 gets knocked out by DARKWINGS right thereafter. That means that this will be a 2-inhib game immediately without much of a fight being put up by Team Liquid, who are now this close to losing this series. Yeon gets jumped on, Ornn coming through. Heroic entrance right next to it. Yeon's about to die, and Impact's taking the kill all for himself. Josedeodo can't get to the back line. Huhi might die. The turret shot's in the air. QUID takes the credit for it, but the first Nexus turret is already about to fall. Morgan wants to hold with the flame spitter, but it's just not hot enough. Rahel and the rest of Sentinels push forward towards the Nexus itself, and QUID and Morgan can't stop them. 2-1, Sentinels takes the dub.
And Sentinels move on to lock in playoffs. An insane progression from this team. They lose to DSG week 1, they sweep Dignitas week 2, and then they win the back half of this series. Impact, he's wiping the sweat off his brow. If they lose this series because he takes Guardian Aatrox in game 1 against his former team, that's going to be a tough one to live down. But now beating them with that actually even sweetens the victory.
And I said at the start of the day here, this is Sentinel's chance to prove themselves against a team ranked higher on the tier list, against one of the bigger competitors here that they'll have to go up against. They turn the sweep, or they sweep the series with the reverse sweep the series. I'm losing my mind here. It's 2-1, even though they lost the first one.
Impact is going to be on his way for the interview. You guys can see it. They're going to have him on the lounge. Lounge, what the heck do we just see?
We just saw, I would say, a big upset. Sentinels taking the win against Team Liquid.
I don't know. Look, even with my glasses, I can't see. What about your big old glasses, Emily?